Hi, this is Laurie from To-The-Trade-S2E44 design community, and I have Nile with me. Hi, Nile.
Hi,
How have you been enjoying summer?
it's going. Still
It's
trapped in the
going.
basement waiting for this kitchen to get done, but it's going.
I can imagine you've got the kids at home, you've got the kitchen remodel. Life
That
must
will
be a
never
little messy
end.
right now. Trying
Yeah,
to do all the summer vacation.
to say the least. Yeah.
Well, we have a guest that you actually recommended this morning. I'm very excited to talk to Ariene Bethea. But you tell me, Nile, first. Why don't you do an introduction why you wanted Ariene to be on the show and why she's such
Oh,
an important member of the community?
oh wow. That's a good question. So I wanted her to be on the show because we met virtually in coaching. God, it's been some years now. But I was instantly drawn to her. We are very like-minded in a lot of ways, but I love a person. She's very like a warm hug, but I love a person who loves a good hotel. I swear. Like there's so many people who really don't get it. And a lot of people say, well, it's just a place to lay your head. And she and I are very like-minded. Like, no, it's just not a place to lay your head. And she's a dog lover. And I always say that you can't trust anybody who doesn't love dogs. So that was another thing that drew me to her. And her love of color, her use of color and texture and textiles. We just have a very similar. We're drawn to similar things. She is just more brave. She's more willing to do it. I'm a scaredy cat. So she's who I want to be when I grow up, basically.
Now, that is
she,
a great
she's
introduction.
like,
I love it.
yeah, she's like I think she's the look maker. Like she's the person who knows how to, like, if you're trying to put a look together, she's the person that can give you the look. You know what I mean? Like the how to finish a room. So
Yes.
yeah, that's her.
Well, you bring in a lot of interesting pieces. I mean, I love your love of antiques and vintage and incorporating unexpected pieces. That's always so exciting when a designer embraces that. So that is thrilling to see that. But I want to start off and just welcome you to our show and ask you a little bit about why design? I always kind of start there because it is not as easy a field as people typically think it is. And it is not as always welcoming as maybe we would love it to be. So why interior design? Why was it that you were drawn to become a designer?
Well, well, thank you for having me. And then now thank you for that introduction. Like that was like I'm gonna ride that high for like all week. It was great. And yes, we do love hotels. When I'm anywhere great, staying anywhere great, I send a picture to him. I'm like, you would appreciate it because I know he would. Um, okay. Why interior design? Because I don't know. I think I got it from my mom. Well, actually, I know I got it from my mom. She was always like, she like the original DIYer. She was always doing things around the house. I never understood them. I was never interested in it. So I know that it's not in me to do because I never was helping her do those things. She was always refinishing the floor. And we lived in an apartment. So I was like, I didn't understand, why are you refinishing the floor in an apartment? We had parquet floors, like wood parquet floors, and she was like refinishing them to a different color. She was recovering chairs. My grandmother did it too. She would have, we'd have carpet, and sometimes she'd have the hardwood floors, and she'd put the carpet back down, and she would recover furniture. And I just didn't understand why they were doing these things. So I guess it was just in our blood. But it really didn't dawn on me that I was interested in it until I had my own HGTV moment with my mom. So when I was a teenager, or I guess 13, she sent me for the summer to stay with my grandmother so that she could redo my bedroom. I didn't know that's what she was doing, but she was like having it painted, and she was putting carpet down, and I had new furniture, and like it was a whole redo, and she didn't want me to see it. She didn't want me to be in the way. And when I came back, it was like a whole reveal. It was like a look at your
I
new.
had the same thing happen. My parents did it while I was in camp. My mom did it when I was in camp. That's the
So
coolest.
I was like, I didn't want to go away, but I came back to a whole new room and it was like amazing. And I liked that feeling. So then I just started, I would redo the living room and I would rearrange things. And so I just kind of picked up on that in college. For my dorm room, it was coordinated, my first apartment. It just naturally just was happening. If I look back, it was naturally happening. But the real kind of aha moment was in my corporate life, my corporate job. Had an office and it was a small office with a window and I didn't have a lot of space because it was small. So I had like made friends with the tradespeople. I worked at a college and I had them build me shelving for the walls. So, which was odd to them. I was like, yeah, can you build some shelves? I can put stuff off the floor and put it on the wall. And I was like decorated my kid board, my bulletin board, like it had different color. Everybody was like, "Oh, your office looks so nice," and I was like, "Oh, thank you." And my office things weren't real office things; they were kind of things from the house, and so our team was like a team of 14, and we would meet in my boss's office, and I was always changing the floor plan in my head. It's like we never fit in there very well. I just didn't think things were organized and the layout was good. And so when she was going on vacation, she was going to go on vacation. I was like, I'm going to redesign your office. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to redesign it. And she was like, okay. She's very skeptical. And when she came back, I had shelves built. I had moved her desk and I moved everything around and redid everything. And she was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. Like, this makes so much more sense. Like, oh my God, you should do this for a living. And that
Oh,
is when
wow.
I was like, exactly. This is what I should be doing for a living. Like, and that is kind of started the ball rolling because
Did you get that? Like, did you hit it like in
yeah,
your gut
I
from the
did.
second you said
When she
that to
said it,
you?
that was the moment. I was like, yep.
I'm getting chills thinking
Yeah.
of like what that must have felt like
Because at the
because
time I was in my career, I was actually studying for my certification for human resources, and I didn't want it. Like I was like, I don't care about any of these questions. I don't really want this certification. So it was letting me know I didn't want to do that because I was like, I don't really care about this. I shouldn't be doing this. And I was like, but I don't. So this lets me know what I don't want to do. I got to figure out what I want to do. So I had stopped the certification pursuit, and I was like, let me figure out what I want to do. And at that time, that's when she had said this. And I was like, yep, that's it. That's the thing. That's the thing I should be pursuing.
that is so brave of you because so few people, I'm sure this happens to other people out there and they never pursue it because we have a lot of designers that come into our industry after 20 years in the banking industry or 20 years being an attorney or they've been a counselor for their career because this just isn't interior design is not usually what I think people envision their children being. Like, you know what I mean? It's not one of those careers you're like, yay, I'm glad my daughter is going to be an interior designer. It's just one of those things that I think that gets, um, not seen as a serious career,
Even
or
what
an
it was
easy
called.
career.
I was like,
Right.
I just started Googling. And it was
So what did you do from there on? How did you push
so
forward?
at this time, we were looking, my husband and I think we were married, yeah. We were looking to relocate to Charlotte. I was living in Boston at the time. And we were looking to relocate to Charlotte. And so I was like, well, I'll use this time to um my first instinct is always to go to school. So I was like, oh, I'll go to school for interior design. And so I was like, oh, let me look at school. And I was like, no, I'm not to spend all this money. I already got a master's degree. I'm gonna have to add on a whole nother degree. So now I was like, well, I'll look at community college. And so then I looked at the community college and I wanted to only take the classes I wanted to take. And like the foundation classes, I didn't want to take color. There's certain classes I didn't want to take because I felt, and maybe this was very, what is that? I can't think of it. Very, anyway, there's some classes I want to take because I think you can take classes if you think you have a natural eye, which I thought I had, it can trip you out, like mess up your head. Like if you take a
Mm.
class and it tells you this is how you have to do something,
The
it
rules.
mess
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rules mess
Yeah.
with you and what you would
Yeah.
naturally do if you get stuck in rules. And
So true.
so I wanted to take certain classes that I thought were fundamental that I needed to know. And I wasn't trying to get a degree. Like I was like, okay, I could just take these classes. I don't need a degree. I can take the fundamental classes. And so I was like, can I just take these classes? I literally called the school and talked to the dean. I was like, let me just talk to the dean. I'm not trying to graduate. I'll pay for the classes. I just want to take them. And he was like, no, you have to be on a degree path. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I'm going to pay you for the class. I'm going to sit in there. I just want to learn. I don't want to do
Right.
anything else. Like, it didn't make sense. I'm like, I'm going to pay and I'm going to sit and I'm going to learn. I just don't want a degree. And he just was like, no, you have to take the classes and all the classes. And because so then I went online and I took some fundamental classes. And one of the classes I had to take, I think they made me take was like color theory. And that messed me up so bad. I had to stop that class because it was like, this color goes with this color. And I was like, well, it depends. Like it was messing with me real bad. And I was like, nah, I can't, I got to get out of this class because it's really messing my head up. Because, yeah, no, all the colors could go. Like it was just really messing with my head. So I think I got off track. But that path didn't work. So I said, you know what? Let me partner with an interior designer and maybe just work under her as an intern and gain experience that way. So I went to the like ASID and I found a couple of interior designers that I liked their style. And one of them ended up being the president of ASID. And I sent her the work I had, which was just the house that we had just bought, and I had just put some stuff in. It was not ready to be shown, really, but hey, that's all I had. And she was like, "You have a natural eye. I will, yes, you can work with me on some projects. Like you can intern with me on like whatever on some projects." And I was like, "Perfect. This is like, yes." And then the market crashed and all her projects went away.
Oh,
Everything just fell apart.
stop. Yeah.
And
Okay.
so because we moved right in 2007, right? And like it was like we moved in August, September, and that happened.
Well, I remember that era well, and that's really when blogging took off because designers didn't have any work. So they had to start blogging and talking about design because they had no work. So,
That's what happened.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that was a hard time.
Yeah. What a difficult time to come into the industry. I'm surprised that didn't like push you out. Like, this is not working. I am out of here.
It
Going
took
back
a
to
minute.
HR.
Like, so what did I do that? So that during that time, I was like, well, I got to go back to HR.
Right.
That took a minute to find. I mean, it took a minute to find work because of just the economy. So I found a job in HR for a little while. I hated it. I knew I didn't want to do that. So I started blogging, and then that job was like a contract job, and it was at a bank. And so that job ended, and then I tried to find another job in HR again, and I could not find a job. And it was very frustrating. I didn't want to find a job in HR, but that's the experience that I had. So something told me to like do a resume for design. Now, where was I pulling the experience from? I had a design experience. I don't know what I put on that resume. I can't tell you to this day, but there was certain stores that I would work at as a designer. It would be like a Ethan Allen or Bassett. Those were the only two stores that I thought was doing real design work, as far as
Right.
like furniture stores, right? Um, and so I submitted my resume to. Now, mind you, I had applied to 100 jobs for HR and have experience in HR, managing people. Like, it should be no problem finding a job in HR, but nobody was calling me for an interview. I submitted a resume that I can't even tell you to this day what was on that resume to Bassett Furniture. And that lady called me the same day and asked me to come in for an interview. I go in for an interview and I get the job on that day. Crazy.
I feel like that was probably meant to be,
Yeah, it
though.
was
When those
crazy.
types of things happen, that's because that's just what was meant to happen for
She
you.
was like, I don't know how your resume got on my desk, but okay. And, and then we talked and she was just like, yeah, like she liked me and she hired me. And I was like, this is wild. Like, I don't have any experience in furniture or sales or design. The thing I have experience with, I get no love.
No calls.
Okay, we'll go this way. Should be doing this. Okay, so that didn't really last that long either because I'm a hard salesperson. And first of all, I love being in the store. There are a bunch of things I loved about that experience. I love being in the store. I was like, this is wonderful. I love coming to work. I love being around things. So I learned that part. Oh God, I love being in the store and people and stuff. I love the education that they gave us about the furniture, where it's made, the wood grain. I loved it. They hated it. All the designers hated it. I loved it because I'm a training and development. So I'm like, this is great training. And they're just like, this is horrible. But I did not like the hard selling. And I
Right.
didn't like the method in which they did it. And I questioned it. And it was just that wasn't the right environment. So I took what I could take from that. And then I left that. And at the same time, I had started selling things on Etsy and like vintage items. And that was sort of taken off. And I said, you know what? Because I was doing it like as a side thing. And I was like, if I started focusing on this more, it doesn't have to be a side thing. Maybe I can make it a thing. And so I started really focusing on that. And yeah, and because I really like being around the store and being in the store. So, and I like the product part. So I started focusing on that and then trying to find like clients, which was rough in the beginning.
Mm.
Sure.
Just taking work, just doing, what is that called? Uh, like I think I started like my first job. It was like $50. I was just charging like to do like
Sure.
a room or to take a consult or something like. And yeah, I
You're
hate.
not alone. There were lots of like high-end interior designers that we've interviewed that first jobs were like color consults,
Yeah, yeah,
anything they could get. Anything, anything they could get.
yeah. I didn't enjoy doing that.
Yeah. No, it's hard. It's a hard, well, you can spend a lot of time
Yes, you
with
can.
people who are not going to spend any money.
I learned
That's
that real
the,
quick. I learned that real,
find that out.
found that out real
Yeah.
quick. So yeah, didn't enjoy that part at all. So yeah. Did I answer your question? Pink? Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love that. That's an interesting journey. Do you think that there was a point where you said to yourself, okay, obviously this is my direction and I'm going to level this up and do something this in a bigger way. I want, usually it's for designers, it's like, I want that whole home remodel. I want that, this particular project. Was there a project you were aiming to get at that time?
So I think my strategy was a little different. It was more like I use the product to attract the clients. So almost like how they in the store they did it. Like so in Bassett, I love being in the store. People were in the store. They wanted to buy furniture and they had design service. So it was like that's how you got them in because they wanted to buy something and then you offer design service. And so I'm like, okay, I'm selling vintage things. My ultimate goal was to have a store. So it was like, so if I have a store, then the people who like my style that have been following me all this time, if I create this following, they will follow me into this store. And the people that come and want to shop with me should want to actually hire me as a designer because they like these things that I find and curate. To me, that
Yes.
felt like a natural progression, like a natural sales opportunity. Not, I'm not even selling you. I've sold you. You come in. You
Yes.
like these
Yes.
things. You want to have me.
Well, Nile knows I've been saying this for a long time now that I really truly believe product leads to projects. I think every designer, every single designer needs to follow that path in their way. Like it could be explaining the differences, like what they should buy, rather than the Restoration Hardware cloud sofa. What do you buy instead? And doing like 3 different options. If that's your way in, because that's your style, then that's your way in. But I do believe, like, I 100% am on board with products lead to projects. I love it. I love it.
So, and that's a good. So that leads this question for me. You were in Bassett, which was selling new product, right?
Mhm.
Custom product.
Mhm.
You are very much. I feel like there's a sort of sacred way to how you curate vintage, right? Almost to a point that it's not just about the curation of vintage. It's almost like a calling for you. How did that happen? Like, how did you go from, all right, I'm selling custom upholstery at Bassett, and now I'm doing vintage, into a place where it's like that's you're associated with that. Like you can't separate the two. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the
How does
Bassett
that
thing
happen?
definitely was never in alignment with me. That
Okay. All right.
that was
Okay.
not in alignment. And
Okay.
that and I was not ever going to sell somebody a whole suit out of there. That was never going to happen with me. So I was never going to be a top seller there because I was never going to sell you a full room out of a store. That just
So I
wasn't
guess
for me. So I would help you pull a sofa together. Like we can imagine some sofa,
okay.
but I was never gonna sell maybe a table with a sofa.
Okay.
I couldn't, we were never gonna do a whole room out of, like I could never imagine telling you we're gonna
A
do this
full
room
space out of
out
there.
of this store. That just didn't. And so I knew that. I already knew that was not going to be in alignment. But I would the experience of it, and if you wanted to see it, yeah. But I could tell you, like, yeah, get some chairs in this color, and we can look at it on the screen together
Yeah.
and what it
Yeah.
look like. What I suggest you do. No, I wasn't going to tell them to do that. The thing that didn't sit well with me is the tactic of never let them have a conversation by themselves in the room about the price. And so it was like that type of that kind of selling that didn't sit well with me. Like I'm
No, I
tricking
get
you,
that. Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't like that. I'm like, and I was questioning it every turn with every manager. Like, no, like they're about to spend, you know, 50 to $75,000, and I'm not going to let the husband and wife have a conversation. Like I'm going to
Yeah.
sit there in that room with them. No, I'm
Yeah.
going to close the door and let them have a conversation about the pieces. So like I'm not
It
going to.
doesn't feel luxury to me
It
either.
doesn't. It
Like
feels
It,
that
disgusting.
does not feel
It's
that
disgusting.
it
doesn't. That
feels
feels a
like I'm a
little.
car salesman or
It's
something.
Yeah, I was gonna
disgusting.
say that feels a little cheesy, a little
Yeah.
like bargain
Never leave
basement,
them. Never leave them
pushy.
in the
Yeah.
room. You have to make
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not how I
Yeah.
operate. Like, I don't do it.
So it sounds
There's a
like
lot
that.
there was a lot of things like that. A lot of like tactics that felt gross that that don't align with me. And they would say, Aaron, you're not drinking the Kool-Aid, and I in the meetings. And because I speak up, I don't care what people think. This was a new industry to me, and I was just asking questions, like things that don't make sense. I'm gonna ask you a question. And so they're like, Aaron, you're not drinking the Kool-Aid. And I'm like, I don't drink Kool-Aid. My mom didn't serve Kool-Aid in the house, and I just don't drink it. So you're gonna have to explain it to me because this doesn't make sense. Like, I don't want to be talked to like that. So you need to understand why you want me to speak to someone. Like, this doesn't make sense to me. I just needed to make sense. And so they just thought I was being like combative, but I was really just trying to understand because it just logically didn't make sense to me. And they're like, well, everybody's not like you. And I'm like, okay, I understand that, but this still doesn't make sense to me. So I can't do that. Oh, and it was like,
Yeah.
it just felt gross. So it just,
Sales doesn't need to be, I worked prior to this industry, I worked in the printing industry, which was business to business. So it was a lot of printmakers. And I just always did luxury because I like the luxury version of that. So it was like canvas, watercolor paper, high-end inks, things like that. But I in the consumable sales world, and I think that furniture fits that model. You don't pressure because you
Yeah.
want them to come back. You want them to come
Yeah.
back time and time again. It's not a one and done. Like you can get that way with that in car sales because you likely aren't going to go back to the same car
right.
salesman, 10, 8 years later, 4 years later, whatever you choose to buy a car. But you will typically go to the same person if it's something like a furniture piece because you're going to go again and again and again and again to buy more pieces for your home as you grow in your home. So it's just like I feel like that is definitely not the space for high pressure
Yeah. It felt
sales,
like
but knowledge, yes, so I think that that's where you were like grasping, like process knowledge.
that. Yes.
Those are the things you were like, yes, I love it. I'm drinking that Kool-Aid, but
Yeah.
not this one.
Yeah. So yeah, I like the training and all that, the
Yeah.
parts of it. But that part of it, I was like, no,
But
you,
that's some of that is, businesses evolving and not really understanding the market is changing
yeah,
too. I mean, the market used to be where you only had a few different places to go for
yeah,
furniture. So I think that they weren't recognizing that there was a flood of choices coming into the market and that how you handle a client who is a high-end client, that will resonate with them over time and become loyal to you over time. I bet you have built incredibly loyal clients not
yeah,
using that method.
yeah.
Not you.
Everybody
Sometimes when
coming
you're listening, like I'm just saying, like sometimes these companies need to listen to the employees who are pushing
in,
back
I'm like,
because they're not doing it in order to, they're doing it because maybe the culture does need to change,
yeah.
you know?
And so I was like, and I'm coming from the outside, so I'm telling you something that maybe you comfortable with that's really not
Right.
as comfortable.
Yeah. That has become used to your corporate
Yeah,
vibe, but maybe the world has changed around you. And that's how businesses fail by not listening to sometimes to what's out there and what's
Yeah.
changing
yeah,
in the
Yeah.
world. So, I mean, I've seen it numerous times. So it's interesting to me that, these companies that sometimes get their, like, just, they get stuck in the ways of, the corporate way to do things, that they have paid some consultant, this is how you close sales, and they are so committed to it that
yeah,
they're not seeing that it actually listen to the people who are in the room with the client.
yeah.
Like how hard is that? Like listen to the person who's in the room with the client, and if they aren't uncomfortable with that process, it's not a good process, period.
I mean, and I don't think I said this, and I'm like, I have a master's in communication. Like I'm
Yeah,
asking these questions for a reason. Like I'm not just
sure.
like,
Yes, I know human behavior. It
because they
might be something I have experience in.
like, did you get anybody that comes? Did you get her email address? Did you get her phone number? Did you get? And I'm like, no, she didn't want to be bothered. And they were like, you got to
Oh
get.
my
And
gosh.
listen,
They never believe that. Never. Everybody comes in for something, and I used to be like, "No, that's not true." Some people do just come. Nobody comes in just to look. I'm like, "Yes, they do. There's a
I'm
restaurant next door. They're 10 minutes early. They're waiting for their girlfriend.
like,
They don't want. They're trying to kill time. It's 3,000 degrees outside. They don't have AC in their car. They just want. They're trying to cool. Their kids are driving them crazy. They just want some serenity for a minute, or they have to use the bathroom. Whatever. Everybody doesn't come through the door to buy. Oh, yes, they do. Yeah, I'm like, my God. So I
that
get it. I totally
burned
get it.
me up. I'm like, I
Yep.
know body language. I understand people that want to
Yep.
be left alone.
Yep. Yep.
Yes,
So
Yep.
yes,
leave me alone about
Because
asking.
I was gonna say, because I'm one of those people, and I used to tell my
Exactly.
bosses all the time at Ethan Allen. They're like, nobody. I'm like, yes, they do, because I'm one of them. I walk in and I'm immediately turned off if you are on my heels, because no, you can't help me because I just walked through the door.
right.
Exactly.
I don't even know how to help myself. I just got in here.
Right.
Exactly.
Sometimes you can close a really big sale by building that rapport and understanding that body language and mirroring it and understanding, like being the
Yes.
person that they feel like that you get them. Like,
Yep.
obviously,
Yep.
that's,
A
Exactly.
simple hello, if you
Yes.
need
yeah.
anything, my name is
You
such and
can
such.
read. Some people do want to ask you a million questions and
Yep.
want that. And you're reading the situation because some people want that and some people don't. And I think luxury is about understanding that and being able to
Exactly.
provide that environment and mirror yourself to the client so that
Yep.
they are the most comfortable. It's a hard
Exactly.
decision when you're going to choose something that is going to
So
live in your home for
that
years.
for those reasons there was time to go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I can.
I did appreciate is that the regional director at the time, he liked me a lot and he called me after when I left and he wanted to know why I left. And I told him all the things and all the reasons. So I did appreciate that he followed up.
Well, maybe that changed them for the better. You never know. Maybe they were thinking, well, this is I always hope that a brand, really thinks about how it affects the people that are working within the brand. I still think that brands need to consider that. I'm putting in a ton of work right now with Design Edge because it's a trade show it's a smaller trade show that's started by Lee Hirschberg, who he used to be one of the leasing agents at High Point, so he knows a lot of the High Point brands. But we're starting to bring in some kitchen and bath and technology. But I want it to be very unlike other trade shows in that you go in, you look at product, you choose things, and you move on. I kind of want more of the conversation to happen between brands because he's bringing in senior leadership of some of these bigger brands. And I want designers to say, this is what we like about your design program. This is what we don't like. This is what I've had trouble with your brand or with brands like yours and what I would love to see better, because I feel like designers are the unpaid sales force for so many of these brands and specifying literally billions of dollars going in and out of their account. My complaint is we have way too much liability for the amount of profit we're bringing in, and we need to make sure that we are working together so that whatever you're implementing from the corporate level is something we want. You know what I mean? It's those conversations where we're opening the doors and saying, we really don't want a magazine from you with all the products. I'm going to go online to shop anyway, or we would rather you do this rather than that. Or I would like it if, maybe if I'm not making a bunch of money on stone, you're at least sending me like a bottle of champagne to say thank you for this $50,000 order instead of like a coffee mug with your logo on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that it's like this, sometimes it's the same money, but it means different things
Mm-hmm.
to me, as the design professional, so I want the brands to understand that sometimes it's like you're doing more harm than good by sending a Yeti with like your logo on it to the client, to the designer, rather than some brownies saying thank you for the install or some, gift certificate to go get their, a pedicure.
Yeah.
Something that says, I see you, thank you, I
Mhm.
appreciate you,
Right.
rather than, so I want a lot of those kinds of conversations. We also had like a designer I was talking to in California, Nile. I thought this was really interesting. She is, for every project she does, she puts in 10 to 15%, like as a budget, just for things that are not her expense, but go wrong in the project to just smooth things over. The tile was supposed to go in on Wednesday, but the client's got a sick kid at home, so it can't go in until Thursday. So you're going to buy pizza for the crew to keep the job morale up,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
that. And I don't think any manufacturer knows that is going on
No.
behind closed doors. So I really love that you took the approach of telling that, like, this is how it impacts the person buying. And I love more of that information to go up, because how can we really service and get more of that business if we're not listening to people that are literally in the homes and on the front lines and understanding what works and what isn't working.
Right.
Because if you're not listening to you, you know, then you're not really understanding how you could do better and how you could get more market share and how you could have more clients buying the same product. So I love it. I just think that that's so, I think that's really interesting.
That was cool.
Yeah.
He took the time to do that.
Yeah.
Some of the other designers reached out and like asked me like they're like he's never called anybody, and I was like, well, it's probably because I'm not in the I'm new to the industry, the whole thing, and he just was curious to why.
But maybe he saw that you were going to do something and your
Mhm.
point of view and your style and how you, what you were bringing to the table was something different.
Different. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
maybe he thought, why, how is our company losing great talent? Like, I mean, I would be curious if I saw someone who is bringing something different to the table, why did that not work? And sometimes in corporate structure, people who are really, more, pushing the boundaries have a harder time. And, but it's not like you didn't have corporate structure in your background.
Yeah.
You had, I think that, listening to you was probably pretty wise. Where did you get to the point where you felt like I always say like, it's not really made it, but like you were making the living that you wanted to be making, to feel like this is your industry and I am working and I'm being paid to do what I'm doing as much as I would have been in HR or
Oh, that's a good question. I think when I opened the store, my first store, on a wing and a prayer, and I was able to keep it
right.
open. I was like, oh, I think I can I do this? I think when I opened it and I left, because I opened the store, when I opened my first store, I was still at Slate. So I had two spaces. I think I was at three places. So when I originally opened the store, I was like spread really thin. I was like, I had two booths somewhere, and then I had the store, and that was a lot. So when I consolidated and I was in one space, that's when I was like, okay, and I could consistently do it. I was like, okay, I can actually do this. That's when I realized, because I thought I needed to be all these places, because what if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't, so I was spread out. But when I consolidated everything, that's when I was like, okay, I can actually do this.
Yeah. Was that, when did you turn a profit on the store? Was it the first year, the second year? How long did it take for you to make the salary you want to make?
I would say
Well, I mean, you always want more money. I'm not gonna I get that.
I would say probably in the third years when I saw like the growth that I wanted to.
Right.
Like I was like,
Right.
okay, okay. I'm not just like I'm a
Yeah. 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 I can start giving myself some money.
the third year being in the shop. I was like, okay, I can take a breath. I can sustain this for a while.
And did that work? Did the store open up the clients that you wanted to do projects? Did that part of that work?
I want I thought it would. So yes and no. So yes, in the fact that people were asking about work. So people were asking about work. One, I didn't have time. So time was an issue, because the store was taking up a lot more time than I thought, because I had put these unrealistic expectations on myself. So that was just a me thing. But so the store was taking up more time than I thought. And also the types of clients that I was attracting weren't weren't the clients that I wanted, which
Sure.
was strange to me. Which I still really can't justify to this day. So I would have a client come in that wanted black and white a black and white room. And I would just kind of be like, what? Like, why would you? anybody can do a black and white room. Why would you want me to? And that's not the question I would ask them, but I'm just like, that is like me, out of all the people, you want me to do a black and white room. It was just okay. I mean, we can explore that, but it was just I just couldn't. I didn't have the words for that. It would be requests like that, or someone that would come in and didn't want to do vintage.
Oh,
Yeah, so it just kind of was. So I'm like, okay, you want to work with me, but not really.
right, right,
Right.
So I don't. So I was like, they were coming in, but it wasn't. It's still. I don't know for what exactly,
right.
because I don't know what I was attracting you. What was attracting you? Because it was a lot of color in there, and I really curated it with vintage. There was some new thing like throws and things like that, and coffee table books, but like we weren't doing new furniture. So for you to come in and want these things was very, because I even had a photographer. This is funny, that was shooting my house, which is colorful at the old house, and she was like, "Oh, Erin, I love your house. I want you to help me. My house is all white." I said, "Do you see any white rooms in this house?" So
Do you
that
think that a part of that is that my only thought that that could be the psychology of people is that their inner self wanted what you bring to the table, but they didn't have the bravery to do it. So they were like hoping you could just like droplet some of your personality into their life, but not like,
I don't know. I joked.
yeah,
I literally said that to her. Did you see any white walls in here? Like, I don't know what you want me to do with you. I don't know what you want me to do. So she laughed. That question, it dumbfounds me all the time. It really, it does. Even to this day, people will want to work with me and they don't want color.
I think color scares people.
Yeah,
think
but
it
So
I
funny.
think it's very scary to people
but
that
it,
don't
it
live with it.
That's fine, but don't, she's like, don't call me.
I don't, I have done spaces that weren't colorful. I don't
Right.
show those spaces because that's not the work I want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand the people who come to me for spaces that don't want color because I don't show those spaces. So because I remember early on people were I read some advice where it was don't show work that you don't want to do more of. And that makes
Fair
sense
enough.
to me. Because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't want to do any more of this work. I don't want you to see it and say I want that because I don't want to do that again. So
Right.
I won't show it. Yeah, yeah. If somebody could answer that question for me, that would be great.
Did eventually something shift and you got, I mean, because you've done some great work. So did something eventually shift where you did find more ideal
People that
clients,
are
more aligned
close to
clients?
me, they'll reach out and want to do work, and I can do work with them because they know, they want to do color. They understand and they
Yes.
want to do color.
Yeah. I
I
feel
don't
like
want
the
to.
South is perfect for that too, because the South has so embraces pattern and color in ways that sometimes, like I live in the Northeast, so it's very like beige and blues, and as you can see behind me, like it's just like light colors, that kind of thing reigns supreme. So
You can have fun with that too. I mean,
yeah,
there's yeah. It's just people close to me will embrace the color. I might have to push them a little bit, but they will work with me on the color. I'm not into the convincing of people.
no, nor should you be. I mean, I think that
Yeah.
you're bringing a lot to the table. I love people who look into, pieces that feel, vintage pieces that feel like they've been that they could be there forever, and finding something unique and that not everybody has. I get bored with the same, you know, Pottery Barn style furniture, and everything has to be, a certain. I like when people are daring. I love when people take a chance on
Yes.
color. So it's
Yes.
exciting to see.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Have you thought about moving in the direction of more like a book? When I looked at your work, I was thinking, is that something that you have explored?
No,
Yes.
it's come up before. I haven't done a lot about it at all, and
But she should, shouldn't she?
I'm
I think so. I mean,
supposed to.
I didn't realize I was walking to an already conversation that's already happened, but yes, I do. I
No, but
think
I,
that
I'm so glad you brought it up because that's even more confirmation that she should do it because it's like if any, because to me, it's like, okay, everybody, you have a book too. Okay, great. But I think like if anybody should do a book, right? She should
I
do a
think
book.
so too.
You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
agree.
Like she should do a book. I agree.
I think so too. And I do have some editors I know too that I could put in touch with, just so you know.
I'm just saying, like
I know
it's
people that do that process well, and I could absolutely make some introductions for you if you want. But I do think that I love when people bring in
a different point of view, right?
a different point of view and have different style aesthetic, and they show people how to make things work that they could find, too, and is
Yes.
part of the process, that it feels like something that is real, that has been there forever.
gosh, I mean, this has come up again. This is funny.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I think it makes sense. Like with Mikhail's book too. Like that's a whole different point of. He's got a whole. I think it comes out in October. It's a whole different point of view, right? That makes sense. I can see your book having a whole different point of view. Those are books that you would want to have as a designer in your library. To me, those are books that you would want to have as Joe and Joan Q. Public on your coffee
It's very
table.
timely too. I mean, I know that my daughter's generation, she's a Gen Z person. They very much like thrifting is part of their culture for younger people. They are really interested in how to incorporate and how to look for the right pieces, or how to
Yeah.
invest in something that has a story or can add a little bit of personality to their space.
My
And they
God.
really,
Yeah.
really care about, you know, it being more ecologically minded because of how much fast furniture is out in the market today. And I think an important point of view. It's not just that it's beautiful, will be beautiful, because it will, but it will also lean into that story that I think a lot of people really want to think about right now, because there's just a lot of furniture ending up in the landfill every single year. And
Yep.
when you think of how much of that is made poorly, it should never exist. Like, you should never have a fast furniture sofa or bed. Like, that just makes no sense to the world. It's not good for humans to be consuming in that level. So I
And
love,
you're the source for that. You know what I mean?
I think so too. I know
Yeah.
this is a counseling session / podcast.
No, no, no pressure.
No pressure. Okay. Okay. I've heard
Yeah.
it. It's come back around again, so it's the universe telling me to put that back
Yeah.
on the table.
What's your aversion to it? Do
It's a
you
lot of
think?
work for sure, I'm sure.
Yeah, that
Well,
yeah, definitely.
it's like, what am I going to say that hasn't been said already?
Oh, are you kidding me? Okay, but go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of feel, I do feel like that because every time I see a book, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, they've said it. I mean, there's books about this already. So I'm like, what am I saying that's going to be different?
Do you think those books that are about that have your point? I mean, I'm just
No,
curious. Do you think that they have your point of view and
no.
what you'd be bringing to the table? Like, that's the thing, is that sometimes it's about seeing it in a way that to me, you are on two trends at the same time that are very popular. So I could see it being very interesting. You are maximalist and colorful, but you're also have vintage. So that's two.
There's yeah, I mean
It's
there's
two
stories
markets.
there, layered stories. And
Yeah,
also, I mean,
layered.
listen,
Yeah.
Mac was around when Fenty came about.
That's true.
It's just that simple. And I have to tell myself that because I am the king of that. Like even down to Instagram post. Oh, they already posted about that. All right, won't be posting that. But I have to remember, like
That's true.
Hanes was around when
And
I don't know,
honestly,
Fruit of the
Instagram is
Loom came
perfect
about.
for that too, Nile. Everybody should remember when you think you're being like annoying posting and things like that. I have tested even posting two posts at the exact same time. The way Instagram does not penalize you for posting at the same time. So you can post literally two right after each other and they get different audiences. So how Instagram works is they get a percentage of your audience, like 10% of your audience. And then if that group of that audience, of these are people who follow you, start liking and commenting or whatever, then that can grow. And it just expands into, it'll give it a little bit more of your audience and some people that are not your audience, and it will grow like that. It kind of balloons out. So that's how you can post two things at the exact same time and not the same people are seeing it. Like they're not seeing two of your posts. It's just not done. The algorithm doesn't work that way. So it doesn't penalize you for having those kinds of things. And it really, every post is a test market. Like I'll have some posts that literally don't go anywhere. And I'm like, what the heck? This was a good post. I don't know why it just didn't go. It just fell flat. And then I have some that are like, this went
Take off.
through the roof. I got like
Yeah.
200,000 views on this post. That's crazy. So I've tested every different way of Instagram working, and it still baffles my mind, but it you can literally post every 5 minutes if you wanted to, and you're not getting the same audience for any of it.
That's good to know.
It's
I think it's good though that you brought up a book. I think it's something to think about since Laurie brought it
I
up.
think it
Just
is too,
something to
because I think
let
it hits.
marinate.
think about. I hadn't thought about it in a while, so that is
Yeah.
something to. I only think about it when somebody's book comes out that I know. I go, oh, Mikhail, I just saw you. You didn't tell me about this book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
So yeah,
I always love when there's a book that is also about things that I think the world needs to hear too. I mean, it is
plus it gives.
design seems frivolous, but it isn't. I mean, it changes how people live in their homes and experience their spaces. And it can really, there are actual scientific studies that, if people get, promotions and have better relationships and
Yep,
sleep better because of
yep.
design. And so there are
yeah,
real meaningful connections. That same is true. That biophilia aspect is not always like bringing plants into your house. It's also bringing natural things, things that quality of the wood that just doesn't sometimes exist. It's hard to find really good quality wood materials or really good, like things that were made vintage have a different, feel different when you're touching them, even sometimes because of the quality and how things were made. So I think it's great.
Plus,
I
you'll
vote
help
yes.
my cool points factor will go up with my kids. Like every time a book comes in, and they're like, "Oh, do you know that person too?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh." So
Yeah.
so I
Rock
can keep
star.
stack. Yeah.
stacks of books. Yeah, that is. Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Well, what is next? If not a book, what do you feel like is the next direction for you? And what is going to be getting to know you? I feel like you're a milestone person. You like a challenge and you like to have a goal. What is the next thing on the horizon?
well, I feel like I have to say a book because now that is
Yeah.
like I gotta start like
Yay.
really thinking
We
about
convinced you.
that. So I have a line of lampshades and I'm adding a couple of new colors. So had intended to have a line of lamps, but then all this tariff kind of put a, stop to that. Um, so I was kind of working on that. That was going to be the next iteration. So the lamps and the lamps, so the lampshades and then lamps. But I'm gonna make a little pivot and think about a book. But yeah, the lampshades have been my thing as of late, and
Which are stunning.
to that, and I wanted to add lamps because I really like lighting. So
Yeah, absolutely. You should work with some of the people that are already doing lamps too. Sometimes they want to have sort of a different viewpoint. So there are lots of brands within High Point too, if you want to chit chat after, and I can make some intros if you need to, because I think that that's a great idea. I love when someone kind of wants to make something and has the idea already. I've always find that there are a lot of designers that come to me wanting to be on a panel or wanting to be on, have a licensing deal or want to have, you know, a book deal or something. But I'm like, the best ways that that works is if you have an idea and you already have ideas about wanting to do something like that. You know, remember when we had Beth Green on from Crabbit, and she talked about, you know, if you want a real licensing deal, you have to have
Yeah.
like a line. You can't just have, you know,
Yeah.
one thing you want to do. You have to have an idea of what that line would look like and how it would service different kinds of clients and work as a collection. So someone might want one of the lamps in their living room and might have a tall lamp and a short lamp, and how they work together, but they aren't the same, that kind of thing. I love that. Love that. It's great. And tariffs are hitting everyone. I just got a message yesterday. It's going to go out on one of our questions of the day soon, that the client wrote to the designer and said, I'm not paying the tariff increase. I've read I don't have to. I was like, well, you do.
Yeah. Well, true.
You know,
Well, yeah, you don't. Yeah, you don't have
if
to,
you
and then you
want the
don't have.
product, you
I'm
kind of
saying,
have
and
to
you
pay
don't have.
for it.
Yeah, and you don't have to get the.
Too.
Yeah, you
Right.
don't have to, I guess, if
You're
you want
right.
to
You
cancel
don't
the
have
order.
to. Exactly. Yeah. You don't have to
Oh
get your
my
room
God.
finished. That's it's just that simple.
That's
Yeah,
interesting. That's interesting. I'm sure she knew that was a difficult client. She should have just put it in the product price and then tell her.
right. Probably.
And that honestly,
You
that's
just got
really
to do
what
it
needs to
that
happen.
way because you already
That's
know
just
who you're dealing with. So you just gotta,
right.
you just gotta put it in the price.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't,
Sometimes
you can't
this is
separate it.
catching those designers though that
Unless
have
it
like
comes back. Unless it comes
comes
back
at the
around.
end. Yeah, comes
Yeah,
at
Uh,
the
because there are
after
a
the
few
product price.
there are a few vendors that are getting hit, and they bring the tariff at the end and say, oh hey, by the way, there's a $200 tariff on your order, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, so
My suggestion when this whole thing kind of came off was we met with Wendy Estella, who's on our board, and she's a design business attorney, and she suggested everyone put in their contracts to like tariffs will be passed through, period. Just
yeah,
like that's just the way it is. And so any new contract you're working on, make sure you're just like, not my problem. It's your stuff. It's going to be in your house,
yeah,
not my
yeah,
house. So I'm not paying for it.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. I mean, you're paying
Yeah.
it anyway. You're paying it at the store. You're paying on everything that you're buying. So
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah. And it's not just the designer that's going to eat that. No, thank you.
it's just that the designer is telling you up front that it's happening. You're
Right.
paying it already in everything
Right.
else that you're buying. You're not seeing it on a line sheet.
Right. Right. Well, thank you so much. This has been such a great interview, and we're going to make sure that all of our community has all the links to follow you everywhere you go, and hopefully see that book someday.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So I can say
I
it
love
was
that.
me.
Yes, we had it, the scoop. I always like that when we have the scoop. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.